following presentation is part of the Beyond the Blast Doors network.
This week on Beyond the Blast Doors Live, how you can celebrate May the 4th and the release of the Bad Batch simultaneously. Plus, we have a look at Republic Commando. The game comes back for one more story where you can play that exclusively. And we're going to take a look at tomorrow Morrison's home gym. He and Ewan McGregor both posting thirst traps out on the internet in the last 48 hours. We will discuss why we find these so exciting. That and much more ahead.
The farthest reaches of the galaxy, the Midwest. You're watching Beyond the Blast Doors Live.
And wouldn't you know, a bunch of breaking news this week drops. We're all here, fam, to talk about it. We got Scotty, we got Arzu.
Hello.
Scotty, no.
Howdy.
Scotty, Arzu.
Yes.
There we go.
We were having the conversation 24 hours ago saying, listen, this is going to be a bare bones show. We're going to be silly. We're going to be rambunctious because we don't have a whole lot going on. And Scotty was trying to be the voice of reason. He was like, hey, there might be something that drops tomorrow. He didn't have a scoop. He doesn't have a source. Maybe he felt it through the Force, but no source. Arzu's like, well, we could talk about High Republic, guys. There's a lot of great stories, rich character development, a lot of world building, a lot of galaxy building. Hey, Scotty, are you done with that? And Scotty's like, well, not quite. Hopefully something drops tomorrow.
I know.
Finish the book, Scotty.
I know, Arzu. I know. I'm sorry.
Please. Listen, Scotty, I know you. Like, you're going to get to the end of this book. You're going to freak out. And you're going to be like, why didn't I finish this sooner?
And that's the worst part. It's just like a good series. You just don't know what you're gonna get. But like David said yesterday, we were like, do we even have an episode tomorrow? But here we are today. I said, just wait. We'll see what happens. For some reason, Wednesdays has been the news dropping day, so we're gotten really lucky. So like today, oh my god, I woke up. It's like, here's this little thing, with the my bad what? And then we've got, of course, the incredible. The first thing that dropped, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it the Republic Commando game coming back up?
Yeah.
All that stuff. And then we had like tomorrow Morrison popping up on some random show in New Zealand.
Yes.
You got Ewan McGregor flexing on Instagram. and it's great because this is like the third week of the last 6 where we haven't had any Star Wars comics. And so I'm just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. So yeah, the floodgates really opened up here in the last 24 hours or so, last 12 hours, really. If you're new to Beyond the Blast Doors Live, welcome. Thank you for joining us, making us a part of your Wednesday night. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and click subscribe if you haven't already. You'll see there's that bell icon. If you can go ahead and click or engage that bell, that'd be great because then you know the next time we go live, any of the shows here on Beyond the Blast Doors Network. A great way to stay up to date on all that content creation that we do here. Hey, big thanks to everyone hanging out with us in the live chat. We got Raven, we got Apprentice Ewok, we got Vesania. I hope I'm saying that right.
It's a nice name.
I don't know. We got Pete Fletzer, we got Galanorian Saber, and we have all remaining systems. We have a few more. Matthew
Alex
as well. So Alex, hey, there we go. So do us a favor, everybody. If you can go ahead and hit that share button right now, spread the word on social media that we are live tonight. That would be fantastic. And with that said, we are going to go to the first topic of the show, which is always #bring Cad Bane back.
Time.
This is what we are saying here, fam. He needs to show up. And there's a good chance he shows up in the first topic of the show.
What?
See that segue, boys? I'm a pro. All right. Anyways, Star Wars, The Bad Batch will come to Disney Plus May the 4th. We just found out today the adventures of Clone Force 99 begin on Star Wars Day. So celebrate that. May the Force be with you and all that Clone Wars Bad Batch goodness on the same day. It's going to be exclusive on Disney Plus. Second episode is going to premiere like 3 or 4 days later, Friday, May 7th. So I think that May the 4th is maybe like a Tuesday. And then Friday, May 7th, you get the second episode. And then all future episodes will be on Fridays, which is very consistent with what we have seen here with Star Wars products on the Disney Plus. And so, guys, like I just want to start out reaction here. We kind of had a sense, we had a hope here on the show that we'd be getting Bad Batch in the spring, consistent with Clone Wars last year. It dropped in February. Here we get it in May. Arzu, first reaction to get confirmation. This is when the story begins.
I mean, it makes sense. I'm just really excited that it's confirmed like this year, because I was starting to think it wasn't going to be till next year. So that was my initial reaction is yay, this year. Also, I'm mostly excited for this show because Fennec Shand is in it, and I love Fennec Shand. I will never not sing the praises of Fennec Shand. So the fact that I'm getting her before December, before the Book of Boba Fett, is my key point of excitement.
It's really exciting to see. And again, brand new character that we got with The Mandalorian Season 2. Well, Mandalorian Season 1, technically, I understand, but we really got to have some more fun with that character in Season 2. And now to get some backstory is really exciting. What are her origins? You know, is she part of the underworld of Coruscant? Is she part of the smugglers? You know, is she part of that conglomerate? Is she part of maybe someone that fell out of love with the Republic? Maybe she was with the Republic and she didn't like what the Empire was, so maybe she falls out. There's a lot of speculation on what the character is, but we get to try and hopefully we get some of that more backstory here in a couple of months. Scotty, I'm going to be honest, the Bad Batch, when it was first announced, was not something that particularly excited me because I knew that these were just kind of like scrap episodes. At least that's what I thought, scrap episodes from the original Clone Wars run. What's your excitement level today for this series? What has you looking forward to the first episode on May the 4th?
I'll tell you this much. May the 4th, usually by Star Wars Day, you know, by Star Wars standards, is just an article for their website. Like, really, it always has been. It really was never anything that's super duper glorified for some reason. I don't know why, but this is the first time in a while that it was just straight up, let's glorify it. Let's bring it to the light. Let's make it a legitimate thing. Now, what really excites me, and I was texting, David and Arzu about it earlier, was who could show up? What? Who can show up? You've got so many people. We even have Grogu now. That would be crazy. Who's saved him to the temple? We don't know. We could also have possibly, maybe even get Vader's appearance. We can get Palpatine. Obviously, he's going to show up. We can get a bunch of different things that none of us were expecting. Hondo Anaka can show up. All these characters that we love from both prequel and original trilogy that aren't dead could 100% show up. They can give us some new characters to fall in love with. I don't know. We're looking at Clone Wars Part 2 here. You know, Rebels was not really a direct sequel, whereas Clone Wars technically ended. We're in a spot now where this show can also kind of carry on a torch that we didn't expect. And one more thing I could say to this, I think it'll stick to the whole, kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of masked as a kid show where you think it's like, oh, it's going to be a kid show or something like that. But when you get to the nitty gritty of it, you're like, man, there's some good theme and some good stories here. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, I mean, in the off chance that anyone doesn't understand or isn't aware of the Bad Batch, a more casual fan, totally cool. These are characters that came out in the start of Season 7, the final season of the Clone Wars last year. Members of the Bad Batch, according to StarWars.com, as they prefer to be called, a unique squad of clones who are very genetically they vary genetically from their brothers in the clone army. Each possess a singular exceptional skill, which makes them extraordinarily effective soldiers and a formidable crew. A lot of fun watching the Bad Batch do their thing in the start of Season 7, which was fun because, again, the Bad Batch comes from episodes that weren't finished from the original run of the series. So you got to see those characters play out, and to see it in the finished animation was a lot of fun. Arzu, let's have a conversation about things that we might witness in this series. If you were to pick the one event, and we've already seen the Emperor, so let's take Order 66 off because there's going to be some Order 66 from the perspective of the clones. We think that for sure is going to happen based on what they've already teased. What's one thing that you think we will witness in this series? Maybe not on May 4th, but in this season of episodes.
I think we're going to see the stormtroopers, not Clone Force 99, but the other stormtroopers getting drafted into the Imperial Army. Because we know from, Lords of the Sith, that there are old clones that serve the Empire. They're sort of being phased out. So as they die, they get, sort of new soldiers in. But I think we're going to see them sort of transitioning into their role as Imperial stormtroopers rather than the Republic's clone army. So that would be my guess. And then the Bad Batch kind of stays apart from that because they're their own thing. So they have to watch their brothers, especially Echo, who used to fight with the clone
Oh, yeah.
troopers, like having to watch their brothers now become assimilated into this army. So that's what I think is going to happen.
I think the majority are going to disagree with me. I'm a big fan of Charles Soule's 25-issue Darth Vader run. There were some aspects there. Again, that series takes place minutes after Revenge of the Sith concludes. I would love an opportunity. It doesn't have to be a big role, but I do think seeing the creation of the Inquisitorius would be really cool. If you have the creation of the Stormtrooper, the era of the Stormtrooper, theoretically, you could potentially somehow have Palpatine and Vader popping in. You could have the Inquisitorius. You could have a situation where maybe the Bad Batch like infiltrates and somehow they cross paths with troopers who are hunting down Jedi. The Grand Inquisitor pops up. I think it's anything's possible. What's realistic? Well, that's why we have Arzu and Mina here on the show. But Scotty, let's pivot to you. If there's one event in Star Wars that you want to witness happen here on Bad Batch, what is that?
The fall of Mandalore. I mean, we had the siege, obviously, but you got to realize this, and they talk about it all during the Mandalorian, that Mandalore is exactly what I love. Boba Fett's exact line. He says, "It's nothing but it's the planet's glass."
The Empire turned it to glass.
Oh, what a cool line! And I know we got that in Rebels a little bit, but like maybe we'll see it actually play out. We'll see what made that government fall apart. Anything like that. I love a good transition of power in Star Wars. Obviously, the Empire falling, after Return of the Jedi was really chaotic, and we are in the Mandalorian seeing like the outskirts of the galaxy suffering from it, and like, I mean, that's what Bill Burr's character said really well in that second to last chapter, season 2. He was like, I mean, this is you're just taking over their land, Let's see some more of that, but from the prequel perspective, people, the Empire really coming in full force, that transition of, being an army, being someone that belongs to an army to now a stormtrooper where you're like a police force. I like that kind of stuff because that's real life. That's like that happened several times in history. I want to see the Star Wars perspective.
I think that's really cool. And, Andy's in the live chat. He says, I want to see Cody go up against the Bad Batch. That would be a thrill.
Yeah,
I like Cody.
I
think that I remember I did a video like 2 years ago. Be like, what would happen? I think it was like, what would happen if Cody and Rex came back together? That was like just like the premise of it all. And that would be wild. I don't think though that Rex is going to show up in Bad Batch at all. And maybe I'm wrong about that. But I think I would love to see Rex and Cody at some point cross paths again. Don't think it happens. But you know what? Cody showing up in this, maybe leading a battalion of stormtroopers. I think that's totally realistic. Pete also asked this in the live chat. He says, will we see stormtrooper armor that looks like a cross between clones and Imperials? I kind of thought that was always
that's what's implied.
The Revenge of the Sith.
The Phase 3.
Yeah, the Revenge of the Sith armor, I think, is that hybrid. And then when we see the clones and Rebels, or the troopers and Rebels, I mean, there are stormtroopers there. Rogue One, they've been converted over. So I think
but
that's
maybe we'll get the clones' reaction to it now.
Yeah, that's true. That would be kind of cool.
Like, because to them, helmets. Yeah, like the armor that they wear in Revenge of the Sith is, it's still clone trooper armor. This is still the Grand Army of the Republic. Mm-hmm. But then when you see this kind of perversion of this armor you were so proud of, now built en masse, as Rex says in Rebels, out of cheaper material to serve Emperor Palpatine, how does that make you feel when the armor is so much a part of you? Because they're not, strictly Mandalorian. They're just clones of a Mandalorian, but that's still so much a part of their identity.
I think that's
how is that going to make them feel?
You're such a writer, Arzu. I'm
like all about the feelings. I couldn't tell you what this is called, but how do you feel about it?
But that's a Dave Filoni thematic understanding. I mean, like Dave gave us a reason to fall in love with these clone troopers, and here we are. Arzu's arguing a great point. Let's see that transition, but like from a real deep, literary point of view, rather than just like, oh, they're getting new armor. Like, take it to that next level. That's awesome.
Well, and I think that's really what this series is going to be about. And I have a feeling that feeling with the clones is going to be relevant to our next topic as well. But getting that clone perspective of Order 66, are the clone troopers aware of what this means, the betrayal of the Jedi Order, and is there an emotional complexity within the clone for betraying this Jedi, or is the coding of the clone trooper so strong that the switch is just flipped just that easily? Execute Order 66. This was the plan all the entire time. Very fascinating to get into that, and I would love the psychology of the clone trooper to be further explored, because something that was so great about season 6 of Clone Wars, the lost episodes. The first time we thought we were done with Clone Wars, go to Commando and we play with the chip and the inhibitor chip. And how, some clones are able to find that and get rid of it. That comes back up in, the final arc with Ahsoka and Cody, or Ahsoka and Rex and Clone Wars. So let's keep weaving that thread through the Star Wars story. I think it could be really exciting. A lot of great points here. We want to know what you think. Let us know down in the comments below. What do you think about Bad Batch? What's the one event you think we will witness that will be pivotal to the Star Wars timeline? Let us know down in the comments below or in the live chat to continue this Star Wars conversation. Now, with that, let's go in the live chat real quick. Let's just see what everyone's talking about, because we're having a good old time here. By the way, episode 109. Thanks for being with us here on a Wednesday night. Different times. We're trying a little early to see what it's like for some people not having to travel this week. Arzu's in the Eastern time zone, kind of living in Canada. So it's just like, we're just all trying to figure out what works best for us. Let the creative juices flow. We only have an hour together, so we want to have a lot of fun. We want to have good observation. We want to have good witty banter. Scotty wants to show his free gift that he got today from a very awesome person.
Oh, no, it's not free. I bought it.
You bought it?
Oh yeah,
I thought that was the whole point. Was he gifted that to you?
No, I wish, but he's one that pointed out to me. For anyone that does not know, it's this beautiful Rick McCallum George Lucas print that was made by a man by the name, an artist named Matt Bush or Bush, maybe, I don't know, but he was a print he did a long time ago, and there's no information on it. We couldn't find a single thing about it. It is the coolest thing in the world.
They're Jedi. They're
yes.
Jedi.
This is Rick and George.
George has a blue lightsaber, which arouses me in a lot of different ways because I love the blue lightsaber. Okay, let's go on to the next topic here. What do we got here? Oh, that's right. A game called Republic Commando. Back from the dead, fam. I am so excited about this. The classic Republic Commando back on PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. This is an exclusive. Lucasfilm Games Matt Philbrandt spoke with StarWars.com on Wednesday to break down why this beloved shooter is back for one more mission. Basically, this is Lucasfilm Games and Asper coming together to make it happen. It's going to be on the PlayStation 4 and 5, thanks to backwards compatibility, and the Nintendo Switch. This is going to be dropping on April 6th. And I'm curious, guys, when we're talking about video game news, we're always talking about new. But there are, I think, a lot of fans who would love to see original games updated on current platforms, whether that's the PS5 or, the latest Xbox, or, here in this one, we have Nintendo Switch involved. Scotty, let's start with you on this topic. What does it mean to you that they're going to the past? They're bringing back old games and they're telling new stories to continue that legacy on in a lot of ways. What's your take on that?
See, for me, I already honestly have most of these games. I just do. I'm a collector of vintage games, retro games, all that stuff. And I have the console still all hooked up, literally like right next to me. I could play it if I wanted to right now. So that's just my interest. I really have always collected old games. I just never got rid of my old systems. So for me to be able to access it again, it's fine. But for some people, it's really important. I mean, we're in an era now where video games are going to be so good in the next 5 years that people need to kind of go back and kind of, see where that started, right? Because this was the first real first-person shooter in Star Wars that actually felt like Halo. It felt like a James Bond game,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got Jedi Outcast and all that stuff, but let's get it to that next generation. It's important to kind of show that progress. And Asper, apparently, I don't know what their deal is at Lucasfilm in a good way, but they have just been re-releasing games like Bounty Hunter, Star Wars Jedi Starfighter. All of those have been re-released. Obviously, you've got Pod Racer as well. Let's keep it going. I mean, people want to play these older games on new consoles. It's all easier to get to, and it's just more accessible in terms of who can play it and when they can play it. And I'm sure it's only going to be like $15. So might as well. It's a classic. And I've never actually played it. I had a cousin who had it, and I watched him play it. So the game looks sick. It just looks awesome.
I played this on PC, and it was an absolute blast. So you're playing as a squad leader, RC-1138, right? Boss.
Mhm.
Okay. And so what was so fun about it, kind of like what Scotty was saying, was it was Halo, but Star Wars. You're able to throw commands to guys in your squad, and you're infiltrating, and it was just I had not played a Star Wars game like this.
Mhm.
And for the time, visually, it was exceptional. You know, Arzu, when we talk about clone emotions, you know, we were talking about, you know, the Bad Batch and the emotions we might experience there. This was the first story in Star Wars where I felt, and I think a lot of fans felt, like you were getting the Star Wars story from the clones' perspective. You were in the helmet, you were going on these missions, you were lighting up super battle droids as this squad. You know, to you I ask this because you're not the biggest video gamer.
No.
But to have that experience on the battlefield as like a special ops type of clone trooper, you know, what is appealing about this game kind of getting a re-release for the current platform? Is there anything that really does appeal to you as someone who isn't the biggest gamer?
Well, I feel like we have this game, my brother and I, for the Xbox because the logo is familiar. So I feel like he has it.
It was exclusive.
But I will say that I can play PlayStation. I can play Nintendo. I cannot get the hang of an Xbox controller. It's just not very intuitive. So the fact that this is coming out on Nintendo is extremely appealing to me. Just because
I don't have a Switch. So you do. So
Yeah,
like, is it like a Game Boy? Is it like a Game Boy?
It's sort of like a wider Game Boy. Like it takes a minute to get used to because the controls are a bit different. But like my brother and I are used to adapting. I don't think there's a system we don't have between the two of us. But yeah, there we go, Scotty. So and it's cool because you can detach it and just hold the joysticks and plug it into the TV.
You can lay in bed and play. That's the first. It's like the first system that's like truly like it's graphically great, but like it's not you cannot be tethered to it. Like you can go on road trips and actually play this or be on
the best thing. The best thing is plugging it into like the TV and sitting on the couch, and literally your wrists are like at rest on your lap, and you're still playing the game. Like you don't have to physically hold it like you would a controller. So that's
is there a dual
the Switch.
Is there a dual screen on the Switch, by the way? Isn't that a thing? Isn't there like a dual pad?
Not yet. No, not yet. I'm sure they'll make an attachment one day to play like old DS games on it.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it favorable is that like you can get a game like this and take it on the go. Whereas obviously Nintendo's the king at that, but like PS4 or 5 or even Xbox, that'll never be a reality. Ever. So you get this luxury. You can actually play it on the go and not have to worry about it. It's
not
great.
having played this game at all. I feel like my assessment would be, if you're like me and not the biggest gamer, I feel like the Nintendo version is the most intuitive if you're looking to pick it up. Like of all the systems, Nintendo is, in my opinion, the easiest control to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be my recommendation if you have
maybe the most cost effective too.
Yeah, it's very. Oh yeah, see, the Switch now you can buy one new, like a Switch Lite, which is like you can't take it off the TV. You can't put it on the TV either. But you can buy that for $200, and then you can get this game for $20. You got everything you need. But it's just a simple system. It's just everything's simple in the way of like simplicity, not in the way of like, here it is, here you go, dumb people. It's just like, this is just a great system for people to pick up and play, even kids. So that's what I'm going to get it on.
So Scotty and I are sitting here shilling for Nintendo Switch. So if they want to send us sample copies of Republic Commando, try.
Beyond the Blasters Live, we would love to be sponsored by Nintendo America. That would be incredible. We would love that.
Oh, it'd be amazing.
Can you imagine like BTBD10 for your discount code?
Could you? That'd be insane. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this game only because I haven't played it, and I just love the way this looks, and the way it's gonna feel is gonna be great. Asper hasn't gone wrong yet, and apparently in the works they got KOTOR 1 and KOTOR 2. So I'm gonna play that as well. I haven't played those games either.
For the Nintendo?
Yeah, for the Switch and the PS.
Finally get me to play KOTOR because I could not do it on the Xbox, which is how we have it. So
exactly.
You know, something else about this game that I thought was really cool, and we kind of mentioned it already, but the way that you could call out shots to your squadron, which is a mechanism now that you've seen more and more through Star Wars gaming. And obviously other video games have this too, But when I think of Battlefront, like Battlefront 2, like the original Battlefront 2 and the new Battlefront games, you're able to call out commands and you're able to get guys to join you. So if you're going down this hallway and there's a bunch of enemies over there, you're able to get other computer controlled men to follow you. That's really fun. You get that also. I think you can also do that in squadrons. Well, maybe you can't, but the point is that is another mechanism that we're seeing consistently brought through all the Star Wars games, which is really exciting. So I think that this game was pivotal for Star Wars storytelling, gaming wise. And, obviously there's some things that worked that you see brought in future video games. Definitely going to encourage you to check out the interview that is on StarWars.com. Yes.
I want to say one more thing that I think is really important to address too. While we wait for these new games, give us the old ones. You know what I mean? It'll get people still playing and wanting to scratch that Star Wars itch, because EA, let's be honest, they've released great games in Star Wars, but it's like once every year and a half or once every 2 years at this point. So give us just these old games that they can occupy our time for the time we are getting a chance to play it. That's just me.
Well, and because you brought it up, let's go ahead and shout him out. Dan Brooks is the one that did this interview. The question he asked was, it was said that part of the decision to return to the Lucasfilm Games branding was to embrace the legacy of Star Wars games. So is bringing Republic Commando back part of that? And Phil Brandt said, our fans have so many ways to access this great franchise through film, book, comics, toy, animated, and live action TV shows. And of course, the games near and dear to my heart is our legacy of video games, which allows fans to directly connect with the story through game controllers, mouse, and keyboard, or even their mobile devices, which I'm very proud to be part of that for the past 21 years. Republic Commando is a part of that legacy, and for some, it leaves an indelible mark on their fandom that they carry out for the rest of their lives. The same is always said about Knights of the Old Republic. I hear from fans all the time that it is one of their favorite games, just like many other games from the original Lucasfilm, the Lucas Games and Lucas Arts era are so for so many others. That's the spirit and feeling we want to capture with the return of this renewed Lucasfilm Games brand. So, Scotty, to your point, the Lucasfilm Games is actively trying to do this for you, which is bring classics. Let's upgrade the look. Let's get them on new platforms, and let's introduce them to a new era. And also, this kind of covers their hides in a little bit. We've talked about it. EA finally got it figured out with the license. Lucasfilm Games happens, then they take the licensing and they say, if you've got a good concept, you're welcome to the table again, in an effort to increase the amount of Star Wars games on shelves or downloadable on Steam. And here's the thing. Now, by bringing all the legacy games back from Lucas Film Gaming and from Lucas Arts, you kind of fill a void that was there. Is it kind of cheating? A little bit. You're releasing 20-something years ago that you said isn't canon, that the Disney pretty much threw away in 2012, 2013. Yeah. But I think, the real passionate fans about these stories, like we just talked about, they don't care. It is a dream come true to have HD version Star Wars Pod Racer. It is a dream to have a new chapter of Republic Commando. And so really excited for the fans that are hyped about this. And, people like me, like I'm going to go back and play. If I can get my hands on Nintendo Switch, I might have to fly to Canada or down to Louisiana to borrow your systems. I'm kind of cheap. Hey, it's Beyond the Blast Doors Live, episode 109. We always want to remind you, bring back Cad Bane. It's always a thing here.
Might show a Bad Batch. We'll see.
I was going to say that. I think that's a real possibility. But
it really is.
Proud. I didn't bring up Cad Bane once during that conversation. I didn't do it. But it's a real
work.
Well, okay, but Arzu, you say that though. We know that Boba Fett and Cad Bane square off in a deleted, unfinished episode of Clone Wars. I think it's very realistic that Filoni could somehow bring that back. Have
I thought you meant during the video game thing.
No.
Oh no, that's
I'm shocked you didn't bring it up for Bad Batch.
Yeah, I listen. I'm not trying to beat a dead horse. I'm just trying to have my cake and eat it too, for a worse cliche. I will say this though: if bounty hunters have to take on the Bad Batch, or maybe bounty hunters are like hired to take out, a clone remnant or something like that, that'd be I'm all over that. Like a kid who likes cake. You know, all about it. Hey, you know what I'm also all about? I'm all about the Book of Boba Fett coming out December of 2021. And we know that production is underway for the Book of Boba Fett. The Project NZ is a show in New Zealand. It's a talk show in New Zealand, and that's where Tamara Morrison pops up. And he's like, hey, I'm filming this show right now. And don't tell anybody because I'm not supposed to tell anybody. But he's actively in production for Book of Boba Fett, which the timeline syncs up about right. You know, remember Mandalorian season 1 shot early in the year, and it was on Disney Plus at the end of the year. So it seems to be the same amount. I'm curious if it's going to be, 6, 8 episodes. I think I read one report that said 12. I don't think that's realistic. My assumption at this point is still it's one season, so a true limited series. Again, that hasn't even been confirmed. But he gives like a nice little tour of the gym. And so Ahsoka, I'm gonna start. Oh my gosh, Arzu,
I'll take it.
Hey,
I will take it.
Can I say though, you are a badass. So can you be Ahsoka Amin on the show?
I could. Well, no, but I could be Ahsoka Tano.
Ooh, let's see it.
There we go.
Oh, all right. Yeah, girl, get it.
Yes.
Oh
That's because I'm wearing it. Creature Cartel is where this is from.
Oh,
Queen. Oh my God. I love it.
We love Tori here. So
we should have Star Wars nicknames on the show though. And I think you could be Ahsoka Amin. I'm just saying. I think that would be sweet.
I'm the resident Snips, resident Ahsoka.
Scotty J-Ro. Scotty Captain Typho J-Ro. No, I don't know. We'll come up with something later. We'll figure something out better.
Scotty McCallum.
Scotty McCallum. Oh my God.
Oh, Arzu, let's hear your opinion on this because I know you're a big fan of, and I know you possibly shipped the two. So let's hear it. Let's go. Let's go.
Yes, I listen. Scotty's right. Boba and Fennick are a match made in heaven.
Let's get it on.
Actually are. It's the first one I've really agreed with. Like this.
Here's the thing. Here is the thing. Okay. He picks her up on Tatooine, half dead. Performs a very complicated surgery on her. And then they're hanging around for months. They're both pretty. Why not? Is all I'm saying. Yes, Galanorian Saber. Hashtag Bonnick. This is the ship name.
That's it.
That's it. So that's all I have to say about that. Is I don't see why not. So
why not?
I feel like
why not?
I would have been ridiculed for proposing any two people could hook up randomly if I was just like, well, they're in the same vicinity. It's both
not that
beautiful.
They're in the same vicinity. It's that they are hanging out all the time for months on end. So
what do these two have in common more than a kill count? What's a first date for these two?
I'm convinced. Well, we know Boba has damage. And I'm convinced Fennec does too.
Oh, so they both have daddy issues? That's
not what I said. Not what I said. I said damage, which is not the same thing as daddy issues. So they both have pasts. They both need to heal. They are healing together. They're growing as people.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I'm down. I'm up for anything like this. It could be great. We could see the Zamwazel Jango Fett thing that was kind of messed around with the Bounty Hunters game. It could.
Thank you, Scotty.
Okay.
I will never ever stop someone from dreaming that because I dream it too. It'd be awesome to see. Like, imagine how crazy would that be? Just like them, like obviously together. It would be really cool. We don't get that like that. Besides Sly Snoodles and Zero the Hutt, we don't get that weird like we're like a underworld kind of relationship. That'd be kind of.
But that's the thing. I'm not even saying that the Book of Boba Fett needs to be a 6-episode like courtship series. Like, if they are just together, just doing their thing, they're just happen to be a couple while the plot is happening.
Oh,
that's it.
Great.
Like, what's her name? Val and her husband from Solo.
Oh yeah,
Val Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, and Beckett. Mm-hmm.
Beckett, thank you.
That was great.
Val and
Beckett.
That
was a great relationship.
That's it. The thing is, it's not about how they get together. They are just on the adventure.
Yep.
As a couple.
Well, yeah, because they're
ride,
on the adventure,
babe.
but you know they're getting it together. I mean, it's everything that's not said about that relationship.
No, David, that's not what I mean. I mean, like, they are, it's not about them finding love. It's like they're already a couple. It's just part of the story.
Yes,
okay,
you don't have to
Like, to get
watch that.
out of Star Wars a bit, like on Firefly, like Wash and Zoe are already married when the show starts.
Okay,
Like,
very cool.
That's what I mean.
Well, and you know what? Romance is always the best when it it just happens in Star Wars, and it's not like the focal point. Like Luke, like Han and Leia worked really well, but like Padme and Anakin in Episode 2, it was a little cringy.
Look what Alex said. Wait, I have to bring it up. Fennick would turn him down for someone. Maybe Cad Bane.
Fam,
David,
all we're saying is hashtag bring Cad Bane back.
Could you
bless up, man. Thank you, Alex. A+ on that term paper. Good job, buddy. I don't ask for many things, but that is one of them. I just think it's really cool to have Tamara Morrison talking about Star Wars again. To see him pop up on the show. He's actively working out in his gym. I think it's really exciting. Also, this whole thing about remember when he came out as Boba Fett again in Mandalorian? There was a little body shaming. Listen, I think the dad bod that's like a positive phrase. I think this guy is in incredible shape for his age, and this dude is only getting in better shape as he continues this series. Like, I'm excited for the choreography that we're going to witness in Book of Boba Fett. I think he's going to whoop ass. I think you're also going to see that with Fennec Shen. And again, I feel like you had all of these dynamic characters collected by the end of season 2 that some of them got a little bit more love than the other. Like, for example, when we're storming the Imperial freighter at the end of season 2, The Mandalorian, would have liked Fennec taking the lead on that instead of Cara Dune. That's just me. That's because I think Cara Dune is kind of a bland character, and I think that the mystery that shrouds Fennec is just, to me, so exciting. And so I'm excited to explore that character in this series. I know that we may mention that Fennec is in Bad Batch. I think the real character dive is going to be here in Book of Boba Fett, because to Arzu's point, I think she's going to be really critical on this resurgence of Boba Fett in the galaxy. He's taken Jabba Hutt's throne on Tatooine. He has taken over the palace. So what is he going to do? Is he about to go out and explore where the scoundrels are in the galaxy? Is Crimson Dawn still a thing? Is he going to take that over? A lot of different storylines to explore, like any story. I'm not saying anything very bold there, but it all starts now. It's production is underway. You know that Tamara Morrison is putting in the work, and I really do hope that this isn't the last project we get with Tamara Morrison. Again, the guy is in great shape. He can play older clones, older Cody, older Rex. I'm just there's no limits here. So I'm super excited. I love him popping up on the show. I am overjoyed whenever Star Wars gets it right. I think the ball was dropped with the sequel trilogy. I've said this before. You didn't have Luke, Leia, and Han one more time together. I think it could have happened. Then you could have let the shit hit the fan. That's just me. But here you go. Here is Tamara Morrison that you're bringing back from the prequel trilogy. That to George's credit, I think it's cool that he went back and he redubbed the original trilogy with Tamara Morrison. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that, but consistency, it's through the entire saga now. Oh, yeah. And here's one more piece with Tamara Morrison making that possible. So agree, disagree. What do you think? Do you ship Fennec and Boba like the other two on this dais? Are you excited that Tamara Morrison continues to chisel his body into manly perfection in his mid-age? Let us know down in the comments below or in the live chat to continue this Star Wars conversation. I'm all about the thirst trap. I'm all about
Robert Rodriguez, though. I mean, that one episode, y'all, that one episode, like, we like Arzu and I are converted. I'll tell you that much. Boba Fett was great and cool and all that, but damn, if he didn't come in and just blow our minds with all like the like jump punches. Oh my god. Well,
and what's your take on this guy? Go ahead.
I was just saying, what really impresses me about Robert Rodriguez, because I was rewatching The Mandalorian Gallery a couple days ago. And what really impresses me about him is he doesn't go in there going, we all knew Boba Fett was cool. We like blah, 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 blah. Like, no. Every approach he took was, we thought Boba Fett was cool. And he puts like a really heavy emphasis on what he had imagined for Boba Fett. So he's recognizing that the coolness of Boba Fett wasn't what was on screen. It was whatever you took from it and decided to make of it. And he brought what he thought of Boba Fett and put that on screen. And that really shows. So that's the point where I converted to thinking that Boba Fett was a cool character, because he's like, here's what I see and here's why I think Boba Fett's cool. And he really like went for it. So that's why I'm really happy he's the showrunner for this, because he's going to keep bringing that rather than just putting this familiar armor in front of me and being like, well, you think this is cool, right? And then trying to let the armor speak for itself. Like, that's what I admire about Rodriguez. So I just wanted to put that out there.
No, and I'm sorry that I didn't pitch that to you guys before I try to segue, because I think that's part of this too. You know, we know Filoni's involved, we know Favreau's involved, and Rodriguez, the latest article that was put out there, how they're all developing it, like they're developing it as a team, and it's assumed that Rodriguez is directing one episode. I guess I misunderstood. I thought Robert Rodriguez was directing the entire series.
He's the showrunner, so he does what like Filoni did for Clone Wars or Favreau did for like season 1 of Mando. He's not directing it, but he's overseeing the whole thing.
Interesting.
So he's like the creative head at the top.
Which, how do you think that will play, right? Because to the point that you guys just got done making, the way Boba Fett looked, the way the choreography was executed was Robert Rodriguez in The Mandalorian season 2. If he's supervising it, but
he didn't do all that himself, right? Like, so if he's at the top and he's show running, it's his vision throughout. Like, we credit Filoni with all the decisions we like in Clone Wars. Filoni didn't write it all himself. He didn't direct it all himself. He didn't do that all himself. But Filoni was that creative head at the top. So it's the same thing for Rodriguez with this, is that it's like we say with anything, it starts at the top. If he's there with this vision for Boba and this idea of what Boba Fett is, then that'll trickle down into the rest of the team.
My biggest thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, say that, David. This is pretty awesome.
We got a super chat from Jared the Dark Jedi, $5. He says, Arzu just put my Boba Fett take into better words than I ever could. Very well put. Jared the Dark Jedi making his way across all the shows here on Beyond the Blast Doors Network.
Pretty much. And
all of Star Wars fandom. I think Jared is on more Star Wars shows in the last week and a half than the word Star Wars is said on Twitter. We really do appreciate Jared. Seriously, thank you for that super chat. We appreciate it. And Arzu, thank you for being so well articulate in your words.
One thing I wanted to say too before we ended this little thing, Robert Rodriguez is our gateway into having a more action-based Star Wars. Not that Star Wars isn't action-based already, but like we could get some Tarantino in this, and I'm not even trying to joke with this right here. Like, that's a connection that Robert Rodriguez has in that whole entire world. I'm sure he would love to come to a Star Wars, much less a Boba Fett Star Wars. What? That's a dream for some people. So he could have some people lined up too that will come direct and like kill it. You know, maybe we'll get the Russo brothers showing up. I don't know. There's a lot of weird, really action-centric directors that can now show and make their way into Star Wars. That would be tremendous, and all because it has Boba Fett tied to it.
And the Russo brothers have been on the record multiple times saying that they love Star Wars and they would love to get their hands on the property. And here's the thing. Credit to Robert Rodriguez, you're right, because he allows for a more gritty Star Wars story to be told. Think of all the shattered helmets and eyepieces of stormtroopers. But let's give some credit to Gareth Edwards in Rogue One, because that probably was some of the earliest gruesome physicality we've seen in Star Wars. Shattered stormtrooper helmets, blood, really dismembered troopers. It humanizes them in a way because you see the blood. It's the same thing with the Finn bloody hand in Force Awakens. It's reminding you that there's a human down there. And I think that's what makes, when you see a shattered eyepiece of a stormtrooper helmet, I think now that's why it shocks even more, because we're kind of starting to get conditioned that Star Wars can be grittier. You have a thing out this week. MCU says that Deadpool 3 is going to be R-rated, but no other MCU movies are going to be R-rated.
Marvel, not MCU.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
The point being here is the fact that Star Wars has been PG, but also PG-13. And I don't know if there's really an R-rated movie down there, but I like pushing the limits of what PG-13 Star Wars can do. And I think Robert Rodriguez is the guy to find the line.
I completely agree.
I thought you were gonna have more to say to that. I thought
No.
there was the attack.
Oh, I could totally add some.
I
more
could
to that.
attack it if you want me to.
Arzu, what's your
James-
problem? Arzu, what's your beef? What's your beef stick?
I
What's
know
wrong?
we forget this because we're a lot of adult nerds with a lot of toys in our possession, but
Mhm.
this is a children's property.
It's also true.
It's a children's property. You do not win by making Star Wars R-rated. You just don't.
Look at this.
Yeah, like grown ass man sitting there with all those. I can't talk, mind you, because I've got a bunch behind me. But it's a kid's like you bring in Tarantino with his like aesthetic, which I don't particularly care for, and then it's like, why? Because this is not the place for a director like that.
I get it. No, it's good to have these arguments because some people deserve to make a Star Wars, some people don't. I mean, it's just that's how it kind of boils down to is what they do stylistically is really important. Like, would we want an Edgar Wright Star Wars? Maybe not, because he's so stylistic. Would we want, which we almost got, a Josh Trank movie? So maybe this is his second chance with Boba Fett because he was supposed to do the Boba Fett film originally. We could get some really weird stuff. We can also get some people returning. We can get James Mangold showing up. These people that, you know, are really great action directors. And like you said, Arzu, maybe not a Tarantino, maybe someone else a little bit more tolerable.
I would love if they follow the Mandalorian format, maybe not on Boba Fett, but on another live action show and bring in like, you know, directors who are really good at what they do, but aren't household names the way Tarantino or the Russos are.
Exactly.
Like Deborah Chow, like Rick Famuyiwa. Like Deborah Chow is showrunning Kenobi now. Like
that's
she was,
insane.
how many of us knew who Deborah Chow was prior to The Mandalorian? For all that she has a prolific filmography. So I would love them to do more like that rather than just pass the baton around a bunch of guys who don't need this. You know what I mean?
Sure. I just want Spy Kids references. That's all I want.
Listen, we might get them.
Those thumb
Sharkborn
things,
Lava Girl.
The thumb things, Jesus, that was such a terrible movie, but I loved it when it came out. It was the coolest thing. I'm really excited to see how this folds and to all the points. And you know, he is just one of many in this bench of directing talent that Star Wars has. Which at some point, I want to know. I wish I could see in the future. And what does Star Wars storytelling look like in 8 years? Is it going to be this massive? I mean, I would think in 8 years, by the end of the next decade, we'll be finished with everything that we know about from the December 10th call, right? So all the Acolyte and all that stuff, all that's going to be done in the next decade. So what, like, do we pivot back to the cinema? And is that going to be where the next decade of adventure takes place? Or is cinema going to be dead? And so it's all coming to Disney Plus, and who are going to be the directors helming those stories? I mean, I understand. Again, we have Taika Waititi doing a movie, and we have Patty Jenkins doing Squadron. So I'm just that's when I get really excited. It's like we already have all this stuff, and I just want more and more and more. Great conversation, guys. That was fun. That was great. That was delightful. And Arzu got to call me an adult fanboy, so that was cool. That was.
I said
great.
We are all.
Yeah,
we are all.
You did to your point. Going down in the live chat right now. You know, we're at the 50-minute mark here on episode 109 of Beyond the Blast Doors. So thank you again for making us a part of your Wednesday night. A lot we talked about already this week. The Bad Batch, the release date. May the 4th, again, a second episode later that week. We talked about Lucasfilm Games announcing that we're going to get one more chapter of Republic Commando. We talked a lot about Book of Boba Fett and our excitement around Tamara Morrison, Robert Rodriguez. Let's go ahead now and we'll dive into the live chat real quick. I'm going to ask you to, in the live chat, or tweet us at BTBD Star Wars, what you want us to talk about for the next 10 minutes of the show. And then we're going to blast out of here promptly at 9 o'clock. Before we do, fam, can I just get I made this reference earlier, but why does Ewan McGregor have to get so jacked for Obi-Wan Kenobi in the desert?
I don't know, but I love it. Look at him.
I think Tamara Morrison made the point in his video that what looks like 2 minutes of a fight scene to us is 14 hours to him. He's got to be in shape to sword fight for 14 hours straight.
Exactly. That's a good point. Arzu, you bring it up. People are forgetting. We're going to get a duel. Like, they straight up said that in the earnings call. They were like, they're going to go at it again. And if they're going to top it Revenge of the Sith in terms of time and in terms of how intense it could get, where they could be, whatever the situation's going to be. He's gonna be jacked. He's gonna be
like
jacked.
he's got to be, and especially too if it's like a big scale fight. That's not one
which it
day.
will be.
So that's a week on set, 14 to 15 hours a day. He has to be in the kind of physical condition to make the first take have the same intensity as the last one they do at 3:00 in the morning on Saturday before the weekend. Like it has that intensity for 5 days straight. So that's why you get into that kind of shape.
And remember whenever they were doing the Rise of Skywalker with Daisy and Adam Driver, when they were filming with the water pouring on them, they talked about how intense that whole entire thing was, and they shot it for like 3 days straight because they had only had that tank for a certain amount of time. Like we could get that again. We could get even more intense stuff with this one. So you got a good point. He's got to be jacked. He's got to be.
Where do you guys sit on? We haven't talked about this for a few months. So do we still think that it is going to be like a Darth Vader in the black suit versus an older Obi-Wan Kenobi in this series? Is that where we still sit? Arzu, what do you think?
No,
I don't know.
Because here's the thing: if they're dueling, they're not like they're dueling to kill, essentially, and we know neither of them is going to die. So it just sort of becomes a question of, okay, what's going to happen? What Deus Ex Machina is going to drop in and make it so they can't kill each other.
Interesting.
So there's no stakes.
Wow. I didn't think about that.
Like, it's not that there's emotional stakes. There will be emotional stakes, but there are no mortal peril stakes because we know they both have to survive to episode 4. So if they,
I'm gonna cry.
Like I don't know. Like it could be a flashback thing, and he has to be at like not Obi-Wan in the desert physical standard, but like
Clone
Jedi
Wars.
Master Obi-Wan Kenobi in his prime.
Yep.
Like if that's the physical peak he's trying to hit, that I could see is sort of like directly post Order 66 or like Clone War flashback stuff, and they're going to de-age him a bit. Like I don't know if that's maybe what he's going for instead.
I don't know if you had to de-age Ewan McGregor to look like Revenge.
You don't have to de-age him that
McGregor.
much, but like
I don't think you have to.
A little bit.
It's
you
still
think he's changed that much? The guy looks the same.
Just a little bit.
You're
Just
supposed
like
to make him 20 years younger. Like
He looks the
Yeah.
same.
that's a filter, David.
You think?
Yeah, it's Instagram. It's a filter.
well,
how old do I
didn't-
look right now? How old do I look like right now?
like a 13.
Well, I know how old you are, so I can't answer that.
I have my makeup on from work still. How old do I look right now?
Nice.
I have my HD powder on.
But like I know how old you are, so I can't answer that.
Oh, okay, well, fine. That was a bad experiment.
No, Arzu brought up a good point. I have to say it. I'd not thought about it at all. Which was the emotional weight might not be there. What? I never thought about that. I mean, it could be intense. It could be great. We can get some crazy stuff going on, but man, Arzu, you kind of like, I'm a hype for the show. I always will be. I love that we're getting prequels again, but that kind of made such a good point. I mean, whoever wins or loses, I mean, we can only get some crazy reveals or some weird, maybe hallucinations that Padme or Natalie Portman shows up in. Like, that'd be so cool. But you're right. The risk factor is not there because we know the outcome. Like,
Well, there's no risk factor if it's Vader, but there's so much emotional weight if it's like Anakin in flashback, Anakin in a Force vision,
Yes.
even Vader in a Force vision. If it's not real, then it becomes Obi-Wan contending with his demons, with his past, with whatever. Then the emotional stake is there. Then it's the emotional arc going from, the guy who had to give up everything and move to the desert to like the wise old man that Luke meets in A New Hope. We're bridging that gap. So if that's the story they're telling, then great. But if it's just a brawl for the sake of a brawl because it looks cool, then the emotion isn't there because at the end of the day, we're exactly where we started.
I really like this idea. I just want Obi in his white armor with the shoulder paladin, like paladin, however you say that word. Thank you. Yeah, I'm right with you because this is the greatest Obi-Wan Kenobi. I can't zoom in. I
got you.
This is so pathetic. I don't have I can't just queue up a graphic. I'm like, look at this action figure. But this is my action figure post cat gnawing on it. This is his lightsaber hilt. Fun fact. I don't think you can see that either. Oh my God, you can. My camera is so much better. My cat ate the blade.
No way.
Yeah, the cat ate the blade. So Obi-Wan, I can't even get his hand is a little effed up. I can't even really get the hilt in his. There we go. But that's the coolest version of Obi-Wan Kenobi there is. I always think of that sideshow statue where you have him with the armor and he's got like 3 saber hilts dangling from his belt. That would be prime. That would be awesome to see that version of Obi-Wan Kenobi walk on screen at the beginning of the series. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm right with you. I think that would be cool. And Jared, the Dark Jedi, says Star Wars could stand to have more stylish action. Rodriguez's episode is so visceral because of how Boba is framed, the smashed armor, the close-ups. It's more than just wide shots.
It's true.
I think that's true because I think the hardest action to shoot. And listen, I'm not a film director, but just with what I do with work, the hardest thing to do is shoot action wide because you're able to see it everything. That's why usually action is a medium to a tight shot. It's because they can fake the hits, but then 2, you're able to make that whip look a little bit jarring so that the human eye can't notice. Oh, okay, it makes the choreography look a lot more aggressive. And so, and we've kind of been singing Robert Rodriguez's praise here tonight, and we're doing it again. It's just the guy is just really good at what he does. So excited to see what he does with that series.
Now, one thing I will say that no one else has kind of brought up in the while, that Star Wars Vision show is still coming out this year. So
the anime, right?
Yeah. So Star Wars anime. So if we have somewhere you do May 4th, obviously Bad Batch. And you know what's funny? I didn't expect Loki to come out when it's coming out in June. So I think they're really saving a lot of Star Wars time for the October-November thing again. So I
think the only reason Loki's coming out then is so they could put Bad Batch on May the 4th.
Good point.
I think
that's the only reason, because it seems like they want to keep it like a Friday engagement on Disney Plus.
Which they'll get.
I think, which they will get. So I think the only reason Loki's not coming out directly after Falcon and Winter Soldier is so that they could fit Bad Batch in that time slot.
Good point, man. See, that's the thing, and all those shows should come out a lot earlier too. People have forgotten that. Like those shows should have already premiered. Like most of them should already be done by now. And here we are with COVID; they got pushed back. So I think people have also saying this too. I saw Jordan Mason say it on Twitter. Someone's saying I'm gonna be worried whenever there's gonna be too many new shows on Disney Plus on Friday. Well, they're not always gonna do a Friday drop. I mean, they could totally switch it up and do
days to pick from.
Yeah, it's just there. Yeah, exactly. Like you can do Friday and you can do Thursday. I mean, you could do Thursday night, which would be great. Oh, here we go. Here it is. Did you share the audio, David? I think
Did you hear that?
I don't know. I didn't think I heard it. No.
Okay. So as always, if you don't watch the show, I don't know why the hell you even follow us anymore, because honestly, there's no point in doing that if you don't have the visual.
This is it. I mean all of it too. People think I'm being exaggerate. No, I wish you only knew that I mean all of
you
this.
you get crap you get a lot of crap for not being genuine, but you're one of the most genuine people I know, and that's why
it's so funny. They're like, "What's wrong with this guy? Is he sick?" And I'm like, "Well, maybe a little." Maybe a little, but I mean, come on. There's something special to that. I'm gonna go on record saying it again. I called Eric, who was in the background of that video, the next day. I said, Eric, I hate to say this, but that might be in the top 10 best days of my life. That whole earnings call.
Since I was there with you, I haven't been there for your entire life, but I would say that was a pretty good day for you.
That was a pretty good day.
You were at another level. Hey, this is a good day for all of us because we're able to get together and talk about Star Wars. As always, Beyond the Blast Door is live, episode 100. Before we blast out of here, I want to go around the horn and just say, hey, Arzu, is there anything that you need to shout out before we get out of here tonight?
Nope. I'm good. Nothing to shout out.
Wow, literally the easiest. That was the easiest thing ever.
Nothing this time.
Well, let's try. We'll try Scotty. Scotty, you got anything?
I'm going to be covering on Bombadcast tomorrow night, and not even kidding. I don't know if you know this, but before Empire Strikes Back was written by Lawrence Kasdan, it was written by a woman named Lee Brackett, and she was a science fiction storyteller back in the 60s and 50s, and she had a chance to write the Star Wars sequel, which is what it was titled. It was titled Star Wars 2. So I'm going to talk about the weird things from this. I printed out my school computer. of course. So I used the school's prints.
You use
Thank
taxpayer dollars to make this?
Oh no, it's private school, so I'm using Catholic dollars. It was 129 pages. I'm gonna read through most of it tonight, and I'm gonna find 40 interesting facts in this book. So looking forward to that tomorrow. Please join us, Bombad Cast. Hopefully 8 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Can I ask why 40?
Why 40? Because 40th anniversary. That's all the old. That's like it's just
that makes
40. I can do 41 if you want me to be real serious right now. I'll do 41 years.
No, it's not really. No, it's fine. No, I'm really excited about that. Also, check out Around the Galaxy this week with Pete Fletzer. Ash Crosnan was on the show, and it was a riot. Definitely go check that out. A lot of fun. And as always, thanks for being part of our Stars conversation. We really appreciate it. I'm being genuine about that. I'm not lying about that. I can't tell lies. I'm like George Washington. But seriously, thanks for making this night special. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching Beyond the Blast Doors. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up and leave a comment. Beyond the Blast Doors, a Star Wars conversation.
And of course, bring back Cad Bane.